Alright guys, it's Charlie Tango 1994 back with another YouTube video. Over the last couple of weeks and the last couple of videos on this channel, I've been getting ready for a CB radio event known as Buxton Bash, which is taking place sort of mid to late July in 2019. And in the previous videos I've been taking you through some of the preparation that I've been doing, getting the tent ready, getting things cleaned up, and looking at some of the equipment that I want to be taking up to Buxton Bash. And this is the weekend before the actual event itself, so this is the final part really of that series of videos, and hopefully the next video you see will be the actual Buxton Bash itself. So I finally got everything together that I'm going to need to take with me, managed to wedge it into this rucksack, and I've got some final preparation really to do, which is the items in there that are going to need charging. I'll need to pull out now. So there's a battery pack for the radio, and I'm also going to use that to charge up my phone and bits and pieces. There's a video camera, there's a drone, and there's the radio itself, as I say. So I'm going to get the bits out that I need to get them charged, but at the same time it's an opportunity to sort of reorganize what's in there, see if we can compress things down a little bit more, tidy up the actual packing of the bag itself, and I can take you through the final bits and bobs that have gone in there. Alright, so I've emptied out the contents of the rucksack once again, and although it was really well stuffed in there, it actually doesn't look like that much stuff when you look at it, and when you consider I'm going to be away for 2 or 3 days, there is a fair amount of gear, but you know, I have kept it fairly minimal just to make it easier to travel by train. Obviously by car you can carry a lot more stuff, a lot heavier stuff, so certainly that's what I did last year at Buxton Bash, took a massive tent. So as I say, there's bits that I need to get on charge and all that sort of stuff, so let me talk through what we ended up with. So I'll come back to this probably in a minute, but I've done quite a detailed review of it before. This is the battery pack I'm going to take. I'm going to run the radio from that. I'm also going to use it to charge up my phone. Other things I want to charge, maybe my camera, which is sitting just behind that, which is another item to be set up for charging shortly. Inside the case, I should have got it out before I started filming, but there's a new little drone, a little automatic GPS drone, which I'm going to take up to Buxton with me, again because it's small and lightweight. The other bigger white drone that I've got, it's a bit too big for this trip, so that's the battery. In terms of water, I'm going to take just one of my water canteens. I think it's 1 litre it holds. There will be taps. There is a kitchen up at Buxton Bash, so I can refill that as many times as I like. I will make sure it's full before we set off though, just to make sure I've got everything. Behind that is the BCB stove you saw me use in a previous video, along with a lighter, just to make sure that all gets packed away. And then behind that is 2 bottles of Fire Dragon, one almost empty, one almost full. So I'm probably just going to take the full one, to be honest. My famous coffee cup, again you'll have seen in a previous video, with the cook set behind that. Then there's a torch, a sort of standalone torch if you like, and then there's a handheld torch just in front of the stove there. So I'll have one in my pocket and one that will stay in the tent. Much smaller than the original lamp I was planning to take, so again we've saved some space there. And then the thing in front of that lamp is a Bluetooth speaker. Again, it's quite nice just to have the radio on, or some music or whatever played off your phone in the evening, or sometimes in the morning, just have a bit of background music or whatever else. And then in talking about food and cook sets and everything else, what I ended up doing was going out, and I don't know if you can see it properly, there's nothing actually in it at the moment, but it's a British Army 24-hour ration pack. So there's 2 or 3 hot meals in there, there's a lot of condiments, there's snacks and bits and pieces. I just thought, for compactness and convenience, you know, I'm happy to boil up water whenever I want lunch or whatever else. We'll give those a go. I'm also planning to take, as I said in a previous video, Cornish pasties and pot noodles, stuff like that. And there is food up there. There will be food served, so I'm not going to go hungry. Over here, this large duffel bag is my clothes and my wash kit, all of that. So underwear, socks, t-shirts. I'm taking a hoodie with me as well, just in case it gets a little bit chillier of an evening. And I've also packed sort of a puffer jacket, a lightweight sort of winter coat, to be honest, just in case the weather does get really nasty, really cold, especially at night. If I had to, I can bundle up in a big old coat. Not expecting to have to do it, but I'd rather take it with me, just to be on the safe side. Working around this way then, that's the tent bag. I've got just the ground sheet and the internal tent in there at the moment. I've taken out the pole bag and the peg bag because I'm going to do them separately in the rucksack. There is a separate compartment in the rucksack at the bottom, which normally I think you'd put a sleeping bag in, but I'm going to put the tent in there just because I'm going to want to get to the tent first thing, and there's a zip at the bottom, so rather than having to pull everything out of the bag, I can get the tent up first through the bottom, and that's going to be the easiest way of doing things. Next to the tent stuff, there's the blue bag with Yellowstone written on it. It's a collapsible table you've seen in a previous video, and then there's the camp chair. Now the collapsible chair is probably the longest item that's going to go in the rucksack, and I want to have another go at making sure I get it right down to the bottom so that, you know, it minimises the overall height of the bag. It's fine, but just again, I'm trying to sort of optimise the packing this time around. Over here on the right hand side is the camp bed that again you'll have seen in the previous video, and I've got my radio mast stuffed in the side of that. Now that's not going to go in the rucksack, but I'm going to carry that as well as the rucksack, just because they're a bit heavier and a bit longer, you know, a bit more bulky, so that's why I'm doing that. The sleeping bag we've talked about before, and the inflatable mattress, just an additional touch for comfort, really, not absolutely essential, but it's just nice to have a soft mattress rather than, you know, the hard ground or whatever else. Next to that, looking across the table, is the radio bag. So the little, let me try and come around the table. The little handheld CB radio is a Eurosonic. It's the LCD version. I can't remember the exact make and model. Here we go. It's the ES200 LCD. All working fine. One issue is that it doesn't run off AA batteries like it's supposed to, so I do end up having to connect it to the battery that lives in that case, but that's what I'm going to be using. There's already an adapter on the end to take the T2LT, so that's all ready to go basically. And then just to stop it being, you know, a big fat old walkie-talkie, I did invest in a handheld microphone, which also works as a speaker mic, so that's really useful actually. In a previous video I had the microphone right up near the mic on the camera, so we got decent audio doing stuff that way. Sundry other items, you've got my YouTube bag, so there's all the kind of tripods and cables and bits and pieces I use when I'm making YouTube videos, so that's got to come with me. And then my famous summer hat. Again, we're all praying for great weather. I'm sure it will be nice actually, but I'll take the floppy hat with me, whether it be cool or a downpour or whatever else. It's jolly useful to have. So the job now is to pack all of these items away again, after charging up the bits that need to charge, but we can do it in two parts, I think. So again, I'm not going to film that. I'm just going to get everything charged up for the next few hours and then pack everything away, and then I'll come back and just show you the bag full and ready to go. Alright guys, see you in a short while. Cheers. So that's all the final bits charged up now. So as I said before, this is the case that normally has the battery that I run the radio off of, and then there's sundry other bits and pieces to enable you to charge stuff or connect different devices for a cigarette lighter or through the normal with the normal clips. Other bits that needed charging, there's a new sort of fold-up drone that I got only recently. A little bit similar to the first one I had, I think it was a JXD something, except that this one has got GPS, so it's much easier to fly. Still, you fly off your mobile phone, connect to it over Wi-Fi, but this one has got much better stabilization because of the GPS built into it. There's also some additional features in the software which the other one didn't have, which is like a follow me feature, where you can move around, and because it knows where your phone is, it will stay sort of focused on where your phone is and move along with you. And a find me, so you can send it out and just click one button basically, and it will return back to you, automatically framing you in the shot and all that sort of stuff. And it's very easy to do a takeoff and a landing, again because of the GPS. So I've lost about 3 different drones in the past, and trying to make a habit of not losing them. So this is the latest addition to that story, really. One of the nice things about where we're going up in Buxton is the views are incredible. It's one of the main reasons we're going up there, because it's high country. So in the Buxton Bash video, if this is all working as expected, I'll shoot some footage using exactly this drone, and I will probably do a more detailed review of it later on in the year or something like that. But it's probably going to be one of my favourites because it is so small and it folds away, over the white one, which I do like, but is a little bit bigger, bulkier, and not so easy to like throw in a rucksack or whatever. So this is much simpler to use. To the left of that is a standard sort of phone charger. Just found that in addition to the normal battery that I use to run the radio and charge things up, but a second option there. Again, if I had to, there are places where I can plug in and charge while I'm up there. So this is one of the things with camping though, is you've got to keep your batteries topped up, otherwise things stop working. And then, you won't have seen this before, it's not that important, it's just some of the other videos I've been shooting recently. I've been using a cheap old DV camera, just what they used to, I think they used to call them a handy cam years ago, but a little one-handed video camera that records straight onto SD. Nothing super special, it certainly wasn't expensive, but pretty useful. As I say, a lot of the videos like this one I shoot on my phone, and there's times when I don't want to do that. And the battery life on this is much better, or I'm less concerned about draining the battery, because I tend to use the phone for lots of other things, including GPS when I'm driving around and stuff. So always good to have a proper camera for the job. So these bits will all pack away. The drone and the second battery will all fit in this case. There's plenty of room in the rucksack at the moment to do that. The only other bit that needs to go in there is the sleeping bag, which I'm going to stuff and sort of compress down at the top. So we'll get those bits done, and I'll do the final piece when the bag's all bundled up and ready to go. So all completely done now. That is literally every single thing that I'm going to need for Buxton Bash. All the batteries are charged, the canteen's full of water. I don't have to touch any of this again until the Friday morning when I set off. A fair weight, I didn't bother weighing it, but I wouldn't want to be going too far with it on my back, to be honest. Fortunately, it's not too much of a challenge, even though it's a good old distance for me, coming from North London to get up to Buxton. I'm gonna order a cab to take me to the tube station, my nearest London Underground station, travel across London on the tube. The hardest bit is just going to be getting from the tube at Euston up to the railway, get on one train, and then I've got to change somewhere up north. I can't remember exactly where, and I think there's about a half-hour, 40-minute wait. So that's the only time I'm actually going to need to be carrying the rucksack on my back. And obviously I'll have the bed and the mast there in my arms as well. and the plan would be, although there is a bus when you get to Buxton to go to the venue, I'll probably order a cab at the other end as well. I also want to stop when I get there, before I get to the actual Buxton Bash event, to load up on cans of beer. There's a bottle of Jack Daniels with my name on it, I've no doubt, and maybe some milk, bits and bobs like that. But I'll be buying those bits last of all. So it's not like I'm going to be crossing the wilderness with all this weight on my back. It's just going to be ferried from one vehicle to another, both there and back. But great news, a couple of days away. It'll be this Friday morning that I get up and set off. So it's next weekend, the Buxton Bash, and I'll do another video of the actual event. You get to see some of the equipment that people bring up there, see if we get any good copies. Last year we were right across Europe and into the USA, onto the east coast of the States, New York, Philadelphia, all that, late in the evening on the Saturday. So hopefully we get some good radio conditions, and be a great time to meet up with some old friends, have a few tins, and relax. All right, thanks for watching the videos, guys, and I'll see you in another YouTube video soon.